But if you really want something to move, and this is junk. I mean, this is a box of just grab bag raw cards. I would have just listed this as a 99-cent auction. You got a PSA 10 gem mint from one of the first 11 sets. You list it at a very high price. Buy it now only. That means you mean business, right? Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to the Parkside Merchant channel. Got a quick video today from a viewer question. This one's from Andy the Lagger, or Andy the Logger. I'll put a link to his channel down below here. But Andy basically asks, Parkside Merchant, when you're thinking about listing some kind of a card or a collectible, how do you go about deciding what type of a listing to use? Whether it's a buy it now, auctions, best offers, all that sort of stuff. Typically through an eBay platform as kind of the medium that people tend to use. So wanted to kind of go into this question here a bit in today's video. This is probably applicable to any type of trading card category. So this is not just a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. I think this is relevant for people in the Pokemon community or people that do sports cards or Magic, whatever sort of stuff you're into. I think this insight is potentially going to be valuable to you. And as always, if you are new to our channel, please feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe. I try to do a lot of these daily uploads with a lot of interesting insight related to vintage collectibles, trading cards, and all that sort of stuff. So let's get right down to it. So you've got a card, maybe you've got a binder, or you've got some kind of an asset that you're trying to list on eBay. How do you decide what kind of a listing to do? So in my opinion, there are kind of three basic questions that you need to ask yourself before you get that item listed on eBay. And how you answer these questions are going to help you decide what kind of a listing you may want to use for that item. So the first question you should really ask yourself is, how popular or in demand is that item that you're thinking about listing? So if you've got some beat up, torn up, been through the wash, Blue Eyes, White Dragon, SDK, Starter Deck Kaiba, Unlimited. It's been all messed up. It's just a raw card. I don't know about that, right? That's probably not super popular. I mean, maybe it's popular. There's a lot of people buying those, but if it's in terrible shape. So asking yourself how popular or how wanted that item is going to help you decide whether you think it's appropriate to put it up for auction, whether you think you should maybe list it as a buy it now. We'll get into why in a minute, but you should think about, is there a lot of audience or is there a lot of appetite for this specific item that I'm listing, right? Ask yourself, if this were to be an auction, how many watchers would this probably get, right? That's the kind of thing you want to think about when it comes to popularity or in demand. So if you take, for example, the LOB first edition Blue Eyes that we have here, if you have that card, honestly, in any format, whether it's raw, graded, whatever you've got, you're going to get some interest in it. You're going to get some watchers. You're probably going to get some appetite. That's going to sell, right? Whether you try to do a quick auction, whether you list to buy it now, or you set up some best offers, there's going to be some market interest in that card, generally speaking. Maybe some of the really beat up ones are not going to be super interesting, but it's not going to be hard to get audience for a card like that. The other thing that you need to ask yourself is how rare the item is. So if these are things that are flying off the shelves, that are dime a dozen on eBay, that's also something you need to think about. Or is this card something that only shows up once in a blue moon, that doesn't come across eBay very often? If that's the case, you may have something that's extremely rare for eBay, which means you may be able to command a much higher price for it, right? And how long can you wait is another question you need to ask yourself. Is this something that you have to sell fast? Is this something that you could keep listed for several months or even a year before you get the right buyer? That's another question you need to ask yourself. So the reason I list these three questions, your answers to these are going to differ depending on your circumstances, depending on your asset, if it's a raw card, if it's a binder, if it's a graded card. And there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer to this, right? There's going to be different cards, different assets that you may want to try to sell different ways. But what I'm hoping to do is just give at least some guidance about how you could approach thinking about making a listing. So honestly, the best way to kind of do this stuff is to just look through some examples, right? So let's start with graded cards, right? If I just do a quick search for Yu-Gi-Oh, let's try PSA 10 first edition, right? As you can see here, what a lot of folks are going to do, if you've got a PSA 10 first edition card, what you generally want to try to do is, if it's a really rare one, a PSA 10 first edition, Gem Mint 10 card, you may as well start it off. Here's a good example, right? Check out what they did. Pop 1 of 15 for this guy. Freed the Matchless General from Legacy of Darkness. So what PWCC Vault is trying to do here, and these are savvy folks, right? PWCC Vault, this is like the place you go for vintage trading cards, right? What they're trying to do, because they've got a PSA 10, very rare, very low pop, 15 total PSA 10s, right? Take a look at that. What they're going to try to do here is list it at a very high price, $485. It is only a buy it now, so they do not have the offers enabled. They do that on purpose because they're trying to drive up the price that this thing goes for at the end of the day. And as you can see, they've got 11 watchers on it, so that's pretty good. That's like 10 or 11 people that are interested in the card. And the reason they're doing it as a buy it now, I think to start at least, is because it's a low pop. There's no rush to sell it. They want it to close at probably an all-time high or a really high price. And they're just hoping sooner or later somebody's going to stumble upon this card that needs it. Maybe there's somebody that's a registry set collector. Maybe there's somebody that really likes this card. Maybe there are speculators that expect it's going to go up. So as a general rule, if you have a PSA 10 first edition card, I would do exactly what PWCC has done here, which is get it listed at buy it now at some kind of astronomical price to start if you don't have any rush to sell it. Just kind of put some feelers out there and see what you get, right? If we took a look at this guy here, let's see. This is, let's see. We've got, if you took a look here, right, on the PSA pop report for Freed the Matchless General. General. We go here. Let's just have a little gander here at the SMR price guideline and see what this thing is fetching, guys. Prices, all right. If we go to Freed, yeah, so get a load of this. SMR price guideline for Gem Mint 10 says it's a $90 card for PSA 10. Obviously, PWCC has an astronomical multiplier on that value, right? This is how the smart money runs an auction, okay? You've got a PSA 10 that's pop 1, or excuse me, you got a PSA 10 Gem Mint from one of the first 11 sets. You list it at a very high price, buy it now only. That means you mean business, right? You're not going to tolerate anything but a really high price. And I guarantee you, right, if we did a search right now for Freed the Matchless General, right? It's an uncompetitive thing. There's not any other PSA 10s probably that are up for auctions here. That's funny. Doesn't even come up in the search. So I think the takeaway, in my opinion, for PSA 10 stuff is like, start it off at the buy it now, get a really high price on it if you want it to sell at a really high price, and see what happens. If it doesn't move for a couple of weeks, couple months, maybe open up the make offers button, maybe drop the price. The risk you run if you just take something like this and you go into an open auction with it is you're going to get a price that's like not that good. It's possible people will miss the auction. If you do have a real heavy hitter like this, an ultra rare from one of the original sets, you may as well start it off at a buy it now, especially if it's a PSA 10, PSA 9, maybe a PSA 8, and just see what you get. Because if it's a really low pop like this, sooner or later somebody's going to buy this card. They're just gonna buy it now. So that's, I think, my take on PSA 10 Gem Mint sort of stuff. Now, what about lower grades, right? You know, Yu-Gi-Oh! PSA 9 first edition, right? I think it's the same sort of a drill here, except at least what I would probably do is maybe enable the offers button so that at least it'll move. I mean, here's a PSA 9 first edition from Magic Ruler. This thing doesn't have any watchers on it, which is kind of sad, right? It's got a lot of views, but I mean, this is not going to move, right? There's not a big market for PSA 9 secrets from some of these sets at that price. If they enabled a buy it now button on this, they would probably get some more movement on this item, in my opinion. So I would say PSA 9, PSA 8 probably want to have the buy it now option right out of the get-go. Doesn't do any harm. You don't have to accept the offers. But if you really want to get a real high price off of stuff, which is mostly going to happen for your PSA 10 first editions, then you do this. You do the buy it now with no offers, right? Now, what about if you've got a bunch of raw cards, right? Maybe you've got a binder or something like that. So let's just take a look here. See what kind of stuff is out there. So here's somebody, hundreds of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, vintage collectible game, unknown years, types, fun. Yeah, this is good what this person did. I probably would have started this at 99 cents, to be honest. You know how people say the YouTube algorithm, you got to feed the algorithm what it wants? Same drill with eBay. You got to feed the algorithm what it wants. And eBay's algorithm loves 99-cent no reserve auctions. And the algorithm will usually take care of you. This seller, unfortunately, has some dings on their feedback, which might mean that some of their stuff gets deprioritized. But if this were a 99-cent auction, people would probably just watch it and bid on it. So I probably would have just started it at 99 cents and maybe just had like a $10 or $15 shipping or something like that, just to be safe. But if you really want something to move, and this is junk. I mean, this is a box of just grab bag raw cards. I would have just listed this as a 99-cent auction, and then it would get more watchers, it would get more promotions in the eBay algorithm. So in my opinion, that's never a bad way to go with like bulk junk, just bulk cards basically, which is what this person is listing. Like the stuff that really moves is mostly the stuff that you get some of these big auctions, right? It's like this stuff sometimes will really just take off for these raw cards. So if you do have a lot of raw cards and there's some attractive stuff in there, doing these no reserve auctions, starting them at 99 cents can be a good way to just drive up a lot of volume and a lot of interest. If we take a look at this listing here, right? This person had a binder, a couple of blue eyes, a couple of just a lot of hollows, right? If you have those kind of binders, that's a good way to just drum up a lot of interest in auctions. This thing probably started at 99 cents. This guy started it at $9.99. It's up to you, I guess, but you probably should just, if you got something that's got some teeth to it, like in these raw card binders, may as well just start it at 99 cents. You're going to get a lot of watchers on it, and that tends to be pretty safe. So I guess here's the bottom line, folks. If you're trying to move something really fast, if you've got just some bulk cards or like a PSA 8, PSA 9 copy of a card that there's not a ton of appetite for it, that it's not going to move very quickly if you set a really high price for it, you may as well, it's up to you, but you can start off with like a buy it now option, maybe have the enable offers button, see what happens. If you don't get a lot of offers, you don't get a lot of volume, maybe convert that to an auction. Right, if you start a 99-cent auction on bulk cards or a PSA 9 or a PSA 8 something, you're going to get some watchers and bids. You just may not get a really high price. Now, if you've got a PSA 10 or a PSA 9 card, especially a very coveted card that's low pop, that's original first edition, that's where you can get away with some really high price. Honestly, like price gouging, to be honest with you, is almost what it is. I mean, $485, folks, compared to the $90 SMR guideline. I'm not saying that they're gouging, right? This is what a smart seller does, because honestly, that's what this card is probably worth, in my opinion. If we looked at Freed the Matchless General, right? If you want to get top dollar for your card, honestly, the way that you do that effectively is with these buy it now listings. You start it really high, don't accept offers maybe for a while, and then if you have to, feel free to accept offers. And here you go, right? This was a PSA 10 that went for $432 in December. If you're looking for a high price, the buy it now options are probably the right way to do it. If you're looking to just get stuff that moves fast, go ahead and do an auction. And don't forget that the eBay algorithm will take care of you if you do a 99-cent no reserve auction for something that's attractive, that's in demand. Buyers will find it. If this person took this card and did a 99-cent auction on it on eBay, it may not get a price that's quite this good. It would probably come in, it could come in actually $100 lower than that, possibly. But it's going to get a lot of movement. If it's a really attractive item that's really in demand and very rare, the eBay algorithm will take care of you and people will find it. So just don't forget that. So you kind of have to think about stuff on a case-by-case basis. Don't be afraid to start high and see where you land. But if you really need to sell something and you've got to get rid of it, the no reserve 99-cent auctions are the way to go, in my opinion. If you do these reserves, if you do all these other gimmicks, you're more likely to not get promoted by the algorithm from what I've seen. Like, if you just stick to the no reserve 99-cent auction, you're going to get watchers, you're going to get bids, and people are going to start bidding wars with each other and go after stuff. So I think that's all for today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. This was kind of a quick one just to give some insight into how I think about some of this stuff. I'm personally not a big fan of the no reserve auctions unless I'm really trying to get something to move and just get rid of it. If I really want to get a big price on a card, I'm going to do the buy it now options, and I may or may not allow offers depending on if I really want that card to move, right, at that price. So that's all, folks. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below what you think, and we'll see you next time.